Hello all, Xyceres here. Just going to be doing another base tour, this time for Grove Hill. So this is a small base, started out 1000 capacity, was originally designed just to be something simple that like a new player could fairly easily overcome. It is much harder than that, apparently dynamic difficulty pushed even the early stages up to like high dangerous, and then the moment I started hitting dangerous, like if I change something on this, it resets back to 1.5 skulls. The moment I started hitting that amount of traps, it started hitting brutal fairly consistently, which was not my intention, but here we are. So it's mastered, rated gem mat, whatever, that's a lot of kills. Raid attempts are 57 with 154 kills for a 2.7 kill ratio. And if you look at the accolades here, we have 26 fun, 6 brutal, 13 ingenious, 6 artistic, for a total of, what is it, 51? So nearly 1, but not quite. So this is 2 in a row where I've managed to not quite get 1. I think it might just be because this also does the artistry through snow, like I'm trying to create a snowy mountain, and I just don't think that resonates very well. So I just don't get many artistics when I try this, despite the fact it takes quite a bit of effort to do. Anyway, let's jump straight into the gameplay, and then we'll go through the tour. Okay, and we're back. So with this one, I loaded up into the map, and I noticed there was a lot of bedrock towards the center of the map, piled up quite high. Well, not super high, but high for a small. So I was like, okay, I can work with this. There was this really fun little corridor around here, which we'll get to when we get to the actual internals, and like a big open area towards the back, which is where the gem mat was, which becomes a later section. So I decided to go with a snowy mountain with a like treasure inside. Specifically, I was thinking like here is a mountaintop, and we're going into the heart of the mountain to claim something, and the heart of the mountain is more vibrant and green, which didn't really work, but I did build off of that in the long run. So to start with, we've got just a pretty standard like bridge shenanigans. I've used the stone because I want it to look like the mountain itself, which is made out of stone and bedrock. A lot of people just weren't finding it, which is why I put the handrails on it. There was people that were like grappling around when they didn't immediately watch where Harvey went, and I was just like, that's not supposed to be part of this map. That's just a frustration point. So I just put handrails, makes it fairly obvious where I've built, and you just follow it in. Come back to that in a moment. So the first thing here, no one ever finds this on the first go, pretty much. We'll come back. They don't find it until after they see the assassin that's hiding behind it. But you'll notice here, we've got a lot of bedrock. We've got bedrock, 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 bedrock. I think this behind here is bedrock, bedrock here as well. I actually had this like little U-turn, just naturally made out of bedrock. And it felt like, with these like two little gaps, and it just felt like such a waste to not use that for something. Also, I put this iconography of this is, I figured this is the ground, and then there's like reaching down under the ground to grab the gen mat, which is what you're doing on the bat. It's used a couple times. This is just here because it looks cool. I think it's really nice to like drag attention to the right away from the hollow cube. But anyway, we have Trailblazer with blue icons. This is a Mark Tomb. I do put one assassin in here who just kind of watches it. Never gets anyone, but it's just nice to have a threat there just in case. And I left all this just in its natural generation state, so this is more open and whatnot than it probably needed to be, but it was specifically so that you can just grab the tomb pretty easily. Now, this section this is the first section. This is the actually like entering the mountain section. This is my speedrun trap as well, which you might note that it's not perfect because I can still speedrun it, and I knew I could still speedrun it even when I put it up, but I figured there was no way I could stop myself from being able to speedrun it. I don't think anyone has actually successfully speedrun this setup first try. There's always been a few deaths. I'm not even sure if someone actually successfully speedrun. I'm pretty sure everyone had to slow down for it. So what happens here, you come around this corner, it triggers the hollow cube behind you. This triggers a bolt shot, nothing on the bolt shot, it's just shooting down the corridor. So the reason for this is you probably aren't going to notice this first time. It is picture perfect. It doesn't look super sus because of all the bedrock around, like just ludicrous amounts of bedrock around, and only one of them is a hollow cube. I think there's one of two hollow cubes on the map, and yeah, it looks pretty legit based off what's around it. And you can see this here. This looks sus. That down there looks like something. So you think the danger's this way. Step out here. That triggers the bolt shot. Bolt shot run goes down here. Generally destroys this. If you destroy the bolt shot, this doesn't happen. But that just never happens. This here is self-destruct and pulverize. Pulverize just to make it harder to run through it. And self-destruct to blow up this hollow cube here, which has Masquerade on it. And now let's go back here. So the Masquerade is stopping this assassin, who is stubbing its toe on it through the gap here, from running out and coming around and sneaking up behind you, which makes this a pretty good, like, this is one of those like assassins that like chases you through the level. But most people think that it's coming from the outside, so they start looking like up the top of the map and whatnot, and they can never find it that way because this is like something you can do with assassins because of their infinite drop survival, but you could do something like that. But no, it's hidden up here in a hollow cube that just happens to be up high out of the way, so no one really thinks it's a hollow cube because it's just kind of awkwardly placed. Like you would never trigger this hollow cube. And I think if it was a corrosion cube, I think people would guess that a lot more than they do with just a hollow cube. It's not even picture perfect. And no one seems to spot it because it's just not in a dangerous spot. This here is linked to the bomb splitter that goes up here. It's really hard. It was really hard to get a bomb splitter to work, but I needed something to catch people that are going slow because I had this whole shenanigan for fast, and the assassin wasn't always going to do it. If someone heard something or just kind of sat back for a second, they might notice the assassin before and not get killed by it. So that's what this is all about. And I think actually one of the most effective things was actually this impaler here. But yeah, so bombs are split down this way. yeah, so this throws them here. This ramp throws them down here. They come down here, and then that hits onto this ramp, which means they either just blow up either like roughly here, or they get thrown out a little bit, and they end up coming a bit further back than they would normally. Potentially even coming around the corner a little bit. I think the furthest they get to is about here-ish. But if you're just careful, if you like trigger the bomb and then you're like, oh, and then just turn around the corner, you end up dying to it. This here has caught someone, I believe, at least one person. It's not really intended for much. It's just, and yeah, core with an impaler. It's kind of expected to try and catch someone that is speedrunning but isn't using the arc barrier, is the main thing that this does. It'll like pull you back in here and then you get killed by the impaler. The main thing is it also obfuscates the fact that this is a Masquerade holocube. You, a lot of people, I don't even think, ever see the holocube there because the bolt shot normally fires. And this is Pulverize and Blockade. This is just a combination to make it so that it throws itself out the most and means it's more likely to be out and blocking someone like it was in my actual run of this in this video. It's hard to get by. You pretty much need to swing at both of these. If you can swing at both of these, so you are running probably dual sword if you're trying to speedrun, you will generally get caught by this and pulled back. The one exception to that is, yeah, if you've got something and shield, you can get this and this. And I think it's really dicey to get here without Sledge Shield, honestly. Now we enter the second section. So this section is this is the like very under the mountain section. So you're like in the lava uh, at the heart of a volcano basically. You've gone below the mantle and ended up where it's really hot. And yeah, so we just got a bunch of corrosion cubes. Some of them have spontaneous. I think it's that one, that one, that one, and that one. That one should really have solid. Oh well. So I've put solid on the ones that are on the outer edges because of a bomb trap that's up here. Because I don't want the bombs getting trapped in these corrosion cubes. But they can. It's fine for them to get trapped in these ones, the opaque ones, which are working both as a way to get this hunter bolt shot to be able to fire through, but also trigger this bomb trap, and you end up bombs with just everywhere down here. So it's almost impossible to dodge the bombs if you stay down here. So this bolt shot here is double down and hunter. It's supposed to be for people popping their head around this corner. They'll always trigger it, and then if they try like jumping back, they can potentially get killed. They do get caught on this block here, but this block here is necessary as a splitter for the bomb trap, and the combination of these two is much more deadly than, yeah, see here, a lot of these will be bolt shot. But if I go back here, a lot of these will be, these are corrosion cube. Where's the, yeah, there's a bomb ejector there, bomb ejector there, bomb ejector there. I don't know why there's so many corrosion cube ones here. You just had to jump to dodge the spontaneous, at least at that spot. There's another bomb ejector. Got thrown up here. So it does a bit. Bolt shot does a bit. The combination of the two was so much more deadly. I have a Ravager up here, standing here, covering roughly the same area as well. So you aggro that. So if you that just puts a third threat on it that you could potentially die to, though I don't think it's super common. Mostly because the bolt shot normally gets people. The bot shot, all the bombs normally get people. There's a lot going on in here. Although I think this one here, which was a smart idea, got killed by the Ravager. So they tried to go straight up to dodge both the bombs and the bolt shot, and the Ravager got them. And we see the third section. Now, so you notice a lot of moss on the walls and whatnot, so just to give this a little bit of green, because I did want to keep the the idea of this being the heart of the mountain being like an oasis hidden away. Originally, there was going to be like a tree in here, but this space isn't really open enough to sculpt a tree, which is why I went for this instead, which was probably the biggest shame for the small outpost. Now, originally when I had this, I just had this one Ravager and a Cannonback up here. The Cannonback just wasn't ever hitting anything. Space is a bit too open and a bit too much jumping available, so I just swapped it for a Ravager because Ravagers are pretty good like that. I think they have all got the faster firing because I think that's really useful on Ravagers. This one's got combat ready because the big thing with this one, I could try and do it as a Bloodlust setup, trigger it off this guy, but the expectation is that they will see it fairly immediately after this one sees the radar. So I think combat ready may actually be better in this setup because if you do go straight up, like if you come around this corner and grapple straight up, you'll be seen by this one and then immediately seen by that one. And you won't get any benefit from the bloodlust. This one here is just armored and fire rate. It's supposed to stop the case where someone runs forward with a Fury's Edge, immediately turns the corner, and kills this. Yep, gets the parry and tries to dodge the bombs by going up this way. This is another of the Impaler claw setups. This one just happens to reach onto the gen mat, so that's what that's doing. It's potentially stopping you from going straight this way, but it doesn't stop you from going this way, which, if you're paying attention, you would know was a shortcut. And the Warmonger back here is a Bloodlust and Armored. The reason that is the case is because I need him. I am using this to trigger that, but also Warmongers don't have a combat ready augment, so he'll stay back here. He'll run out as soon as he can, and will try to reinforce wherever you have put up threat, wherever you've gone. A lot of these, I believe, are from the Warmonger, or maybe they're just... Maybe they are okay, it looks like they're all the Ravager. But I think they're getting distracted by the Warmonger. And this here, similar to that, it's partially for if you go grapple straight up, but also partially for just covering the gem mat. Just an extra thing to worry about while you're having to deal with all the other threats. So, and on the way out, there's just no second wave stuff. The only reason we had the assassin in the gameplay was because I didn't sit back and wait for it to come out. So that is Grove Hill. It will remain on social for the foreseeable future if you'd like to give it a try. It is a lot more dangerous than it was intended to be, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks like artistically and like functionally. I think it was quite fun, but yeah, it is small. There's not a lot of capacity, and I think like this like speedrun setup, running killer setup was surprisingly effective for something that was designed on a small base with very little capacity. So anyway, I will see you next time, and this will be on social for the foreseeable future. There should be at least one more video. There probably won't be any shorts this week because I have all my like tips and stuff are going into the Lodestar guide, which I hope to have out this week, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, until next time.